Hello, fight fans, and welcome to Rugged Rob's Combat Corner, where combat is always king. I'm your host, the one and only Rugged Rob, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of the Combat Corner podcast. And this is a very special week because I have one of my favorite people in boxing and in the boxing community with me today, Dean Eoanou from the legendary UB Boxing Club, and now he's doing Parkinson's boxing. But first and foremost, Eoanou, what kind of name is that?
Greek, 100%.
Greek? Okay. Kind of sounds Hawaiian with all the
everybody's
vowel, you know?
There's too many vowels in it.
Too many vowels. But anyway, the first thing we're going to talk about is very serious. He just showed me a video a couple minutes ago. It's very touching how Parkinson's boxing helped those diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Now, let's start out with a clear description of Parkinson's disease. How does it affect the body?
What happens is the neurons in the brain stop producing dopamine. And dopamine is what sends the messages through the nerve endings to your body to move your hand, to move your legs. And what happens is when those networks, those neuron networks, they become weak, either from the disease or it could be an injury. It could be a traumatic brain injury. And what happens is that neuron network becomes weak. There's not as many neurons in that network to send the messages is what happens. So, and it's a progressive disease. When it starts, it just compounds itself. And that's pretty much summing up the disease. There's a lot more to it. It affects your digestion, your thought process. Everything you do, it affects your sleep. So it's a pretty rough card to get dealt, for sure.
Okay, you were a boxing coach with UB for about 15 years?
I think 11.
11? It was
11 years, yeah.
Okay, 11 years. And you stopped that to go into Parkinson's boxing. How did you find this process?
Well, I came home one day and my wife saw a segment on it, and she insisted that I watch it. I had no intention of watching it. And I watched the segment, and I could see what they were doing. For some reason, I could see exactly what was happening. And I had postponed a dentist appointment 2 weeks. And right after I saw that, the next day I went to a dentist appointment, and my dentist asked me if I'd seen the program. I told her I had, and she said her husband had Parkinson's. Can I help him? I said, absolutely. And I knew I could. It was the funniest thing. I just, not funny, but I knew I could. Okay. So he came to me, and that was Tony, the guy you saw in the video that was running. When he came to me, he had a cane with 4 prongs on it with suction cups. And he only used the cane to get to something stable, a table, a chair. You know, the cane wasn't enough to keep him up. He couldn't stand with the cane. And when I saw him, that was the first contact I ever had with Parkinson's. I had no idea what I agreed to. Mm-hmm. And we started working every day, 7 days a week, an hour and a half a day. Mm-hmm. And we finally got him to where he could stand up, and now he's running, as you see. And today he walks to my gym 5.7 miles each way. Works out for an hour and a half and walks home. 11.4 miles he walks every day of the week. Okay. And the process, I guess the question was, how did I discover the process, or how did I? There was no one to go to. There was no mentor. There was no book. I learned it as I went. And what I discovered was, I read as many books as I could on it because I couldn't get a handle on it. I was getting results, but I didn't understand the results.
You didn't understand why.
I didn't understand, and it's hard to teach something if you don't understand why. I've always said that you shouldn't be teaching if you don't understand it. And I went to neurologists. I've talked to everyone. Some said your brain shrinks when you exercise, allows the dopamine to flow more freely. When you exercise hard, the brain just naturally produces more dopamine. But after reading all the books I've read, I believe what happens is, and this isn't mine, this is obviously experts, yes. There's a network for everything you do in your body, and it's made up of neurons, okay, that produce dopamine. And as these neurons die off, like I said, you lose your coordination, your hand-eye, your balance, all these things. But the way the network is built, picture a sphere, and the center of the sphere is the strongest part of that sphere with the networks. And the neurons on the outside of that network aren't as attached. They're weaker. And you can draw from other networks to the network you're trying to work on. So if you say you're working on a guy with his right hand, he has issues with his right hand. The exercise you put together are for his right hand, and they're repetitious, but you draw those neurons from other networks. Okay. To give you an idea, they've severed a nerve in a monkey's arm. The monkey arm just hangs. Monkey tries to move it and gives up. It's learned non-use, and he relies on his other hand. But that same monkey, if you restrict his good arm, he'll regain full motion of that arm. That nerve's been set. Okay. And it's the same with stroke. We work with stroke victims, MS. So what happens is you have to find a way to draw more neurons, in my opinion, to this network or whatever network you're working on. And in my gym, as you saw there's lines and there's things everywhere. We've got skill sets on top of skill sets on top of skill sets to get this to happen.
Okay.
So and boxing's good because if you really know boxing, everything's precise. So you'll see a lot of guys working Parkinson. They're just hitting the mitts or they're just hitting the bags. Mm-hmm. That might help a little bit. But what we do is we have a hardcover journal. We track a guy's progress. We have a questionnaire where we know where we're going to start, any red flags, and then we work on that individual with these skill sets to strengthen them. Okay. So instead of just hitting the bag like this, we'll hit that bag and we'll turn it over, and then we'll get him to send the message that he normally would send to his fist to his anterior delt, which a fighter would send from. So you're forcing the concentration to fire muscles he's never even fired, let alone the ones that are giving him problems. And just not moving your hands, exactly.
You're teaching them to turn over punches.
And sending the message to your rear foot to drive off your rear foot, and sending the next message here to fire like you would have fired. And then get him to roll and get him to breathe and bring more and more and more into it. So to give an example, like you'll see guys working a speed bag, bom, 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 bom. And then you get them to change direction with that speed bag. And then you get them to stick that speed bag. And then you get them to, all the different skill sets on that speed. Make that arm stronger and stronger and stronger.
At the same time, you're sending specific signals to do a specific task, and that's how you kind of force the neurons to come out.
Exactly.
Oh, exactly. Rugged Rob got it on the first try. But you were a boxing coach first. Mm-hmm. And you discovered Parkinson's boxing through a commercial or a video that your wife brought attention to. Now, were you a boxing coach when you saw this footage?
Oh yeah, I've only done this for 2 years.
Okay, so what was the point where you said, "Well, look, I have to stop being a boxing coach and dedicate 100% of my time to Parkinson's boxing"? How did that transform?
In my case, when I saw the results, when I saw what was happening, I was totally drawn in. I couldn't even think or talk about anything else. I was so focused. You know me, anyways. I'm pretty intense. I put all that into Parkinson's, like I do everything. I read, I would buy 4 or 5 books at a time. I would read. I'd get up every morning at 5 o'clock and I would read till 9 or 8, and trying to get as much knowledge as I could. And as I saw the results, I was hooked. I was done. I had a good year. The year I quit boxing to do this, I probably had my best year ever. We had 3 New York State champs, upstate women's champ. We had a national silver, a national bronze. We had a ringside world champ, a U.S. national champ, a national Golden Glove boxer of the year. So it was a perfect time to
you had built that team. When I first found out that you were not going to be a boxing coach anymore, I was thrown back. I didn't understand why, but until I learned what you were actually doing with Parkinson boxing and helping these people out, it clicked in me why you did this. Yeah. It's more of a purpose.
Oh, more than you know.
Yeah,
more than you know. I still go to the gloves and I sit. It's hard to sit there and watch it. That's still hard for me not to be in that corner. You know what I mean? And getting crazy.
Well, you got one good fighter still in it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I had Wendy Casey, and I think every Golden Glove boxer I've had in here had mentioned her name either once or twice. I had Alex Castellano in here. He sparred with her, and his quote was, "I don't want to be sexist or anything, but it's like fighting a man."
Oh, without a doubt.
She's very strong. I had Jeffrey Nagayo Alingo, and he said she was a beast. And she gets a lot of respect. Now, why do you train Wendy? I just want to get it from you, the person that knows her best. What's special about Wendy?
I've trained her since she was 18 years old. She's been in my house a million times. She's like family. You know, my whole family knows her. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I'll be with you as far as you want to go. I promised her that, or she'd be out too. But, yeah. I love her with all my heart, and I told her that I'll be with you to the end.
Okay.
So wherever we have to go, I'll go.
Okay.
So I went to Missouri with her. I mean, I've been all over the place. Florida, God knows where I've been with her. And what people don't understand about Wendy, you know what's special about Wendy?
What's that?
How smart she is. She can dissect a fighter in the middle of a hailstorm. You know, you can be throwing punches at her, and she's processing what's happening. Where other guys are panic punching or trying to hold. She's not trying to hold. If you ever watch her, she's never trying to hold. She just reads and then shoots inside, breaks her angles, and then puts that heat on you. You know,
Okay.
So she's a super intelligent fighter, and we do a lot of film work together. Like, we're going to fight an opponent, you know, we go over at night, we talk, and we'll study just the feet. We'll watch the whole fight and just watch the opponent's feet. You know, that's kind of fighter. That's the kind of fighter I'd like, an intellectual fighter.
Okay.
And then she hits like nothing I've ever seen for that weight.
Yeah, she does. When she came in here, she gave you a lot of credit for her success. But I didn't realize she was gone for 7 years. I didn't realize that.
Now, can you can't come back 7 years from anything? Am I right? I mean,
Right.
nothing.
Right.
She came back 7 years later, and took one ugly tune-up fight at the Gloves. She didn't look good at all. Went to Florida, and it was just like she just was killing people. And she lost a close fight. She was a silver medalist the first year, and then the second year, she didn't lose a round. Never mind a fight. She didn't lose a round, and that's through 2 nationals, at world, everything. She just walked through these girls, just pounded them. So she's a special kid. She just is. She's just special. When she puts her mind to something, you're going to have your hands full with her. You know, and she can change up during the fight. She's not as one-dimensional as people think. She can counterpunch. She can fight left-handed. You know, and she will wear you down. You know, she's just on you. So she's. They didn't even consider us a threat when we went up there, because no one even heard of her 7 years later. You know, they were just.
They thought she wasn't there anymore.
Walking through them, just walk. And then, you know, it's the same thing I hear from all the coaches. No, she's not hard to figure out. Oh, we'll have a plan. Anybody can figure her out. It's not too hard. She's Joe Frazier. I mean, she's in your face. She'll take some punches, but you still have to implement that plan. And I have yet to see anyone do it successfully.